Hello, this is Deborah with Black Education TV, and this video comes by request by a viewer named Jewel, and the discussion is about those that are buying passports, getting passports and getting out of here, fleeing the country. And I believe it was because of the video I did on Ghana as to why a lot of people are a little upset right now because the U.S. military is setting up base over there. And many of us, we got the memo that there was a policy in place that those of us who are descendants of those brought over here in slave ships, that we can return back to Ghana. And so many of us were excited about that. We know people have actually moved over there. We know some who have visited and they love the area. And so when you hear something like that, you're like, wow, oh, we can come back. They'll give us free land. But the problem is this. As this viewer stated, not everyone has money to leave. Not everyone has money to leave. It's easier said than done, especially if you have a family. You can't just up and go to another country. There's a lot of loopholes. There's a lot of money that's needed and a lot that you need to do, you see. And so she wanted me to expound on that very fact that not everyone can leave. But before I do that, we need to understand that this world is dominated by the same people that are here in the U.S. running things. So even if you do go to another area, and that area may not be as heavily dominated as the next area, but you can best believe that they have a foothold somewhere there. And if they don't, they are coming. As you see, you thought Ghana was free? No. They're trying to set up a military base, you see. And so that's what the issue is there. And so pretty much around this world, wherever you go, you're going to see some residue of the West. They are there somewhere running something. Even in the remotest villages around the world. Trust me, they know where everyone is. Okay, that being said, those of you who live in the U.S. and you don't have the means to just up and move to another country, there are things that you can do in your own area. Now, when you hear people say flee, get out of Babylon, I mean, if our safety and our salvation was based on our ability to afford it, it wouldn't seem fair, would it? It would not seem fair that the Most High would base it on your ability to afford it. Because these things were prophesied thousands of years ago. And so, for it to be based on whether or not a person can afford to move to another country, the question still remains, where are you going to go? Where are you going to go? But for those that have to remain, you got to understand this. Some people can't even afford to move out of the city that they're in, nor the state, much less the country. So that whole flee Babylon idea is just simply not biblical in terms of where Babylon is. When the scripture talks about Babylon, it's not saying get out of America and go to this place or that place. That is not what it's referring to. But I would suggest for those like the young lady or the person, I'm not sure if it's a young lady or a young man, but the person who requested this video, as they stated, they live in an apartment. And so you have fewer choices when you live in an apartment as far as growing food and doing a number of things for preparation. This is why we continue to say that you have to find someone that you can unify with on some level. I'm going to say this. We used to be in real estate years ago, and there are state-owned, city-owned properties, county-owned properties that sometimes they are giving away dirt cheap. You just have to do the research in your county offices, your city offices, your state offices. Find out where their properties are, because many times they don't want to keep taking care of them as far as grass and all of that. Find out where these properties are, and you might be able to get a dirt cheap deal. You never know unless you try. Nothing fails but a try. So I would check into that. Anyone who's trying to figure out what they can do in their own area, try to find some of these properties like that, because we do have work to do while we're in these areas. Regardless if you go to another country or not. I hear that some people who go to Ghana, they realize that things are not as simple as they thought they were going to be. I mean, they have a pretty modern society there, but you're not going to just be able to go there and just, hey, put in job applications and get hired like that. You have people who live there, people who know the culture, will probably get a job before you. Many times when you go to these other countries, you have to already have wealth established, or you have to have some type of business that you can operate when you get to these areas. But to just think you're going to go there and get on some social program or just find a job on the spot is not that simple. You see, if they have any social programs, I've never heard of them, but don't go there with the expectation of getting on any of their social programs, if they even have them. Or don't go there with the expectation of landing a job, unless you are going there to some major corporation that's already established that may have transferred you there. But if you're just a lay person and you're just like, I'm going to go put in an application when I get there and try to get a job, don't look at it like it's that simple, because it's not. Go there with a realistic plan. But for those who cannot afford to leave the country, who cannot flee, everyone's getting passports, but it still remains, where are you going to go? And when you get there, what are you going to do? How are you going to take care of yourself when you get there? Prophecy tells us that we're going to be gathered from the four corners of the world. So sometimes staying put is the best thing you can do, where you know and where you're comfortable. Now, that's not to say that if I had a choice that I wouldn't be somewhere else. Trust me, if I had the choice, if we were financially able, I would rather be somewhere else. But if that is not the Most High's will, then that is not what we're going to strive for. But realistically, we need to be doing different than what we're doing now. All the division keeps us from progress. And until we figure that thing out, until we realize that, we're all going to keep walking around in circles, trying to figure out, do I get out of here? Should I stay or should I go? We're going to continue in that path. Sometimes running is not the best option. Sometimes it's not an option at all. And so, for those of you who are, like the young woman or the young person said, in a position where you can't leave the country, it is best to fortify where you are. Do what you can where you are. And on top of that, I would research strategies and see what others are doing to strengthen their position. It sure beats doing nothing. It sure beats doing nothing. All the talk of unity, sometimes it just seems like it's pointless and useless to do, because we see how that works with our people. It just don't seem to work. It's a rare thing to even find or achieve. But I guess you just have to keep on tweeting it out as much as you can. Maybe someone will catch hold and understand what it all means and how it benefits you. But if you can't do that, do what you can on your own. That's the best all of us can do. And with that, I will say shalom.